Hello, my friends. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype traits, and even GED match results of a catacomb culture individual from the Northern Caucasus in Russia. Now, catacomb culture is actually ancestral to Indo-Europeans, such as Yamnaya and corded ware culture, which is very interesting. Catacomb culture ended up going west into Europe and essentially mixing with the farmers in Europe and creating the corded ware and the bell beakers in Europe and in the Europeans later in the Europeans. So this individual is living in Northern Caucasus. Let me show you where he lives. He lives in this region right here. I think this is the Kabardino-Balkaria region, or this might be Stavropol actually. Yes, this is the southernmost point of Stavropolsky Krai. Um, the mountainous region of Stavropolsky Krai. This big region right here is Stavropolsky Krai, and for the mitochondrial lineage, this individual has mitochondrial lineage I4A, and for Y DNA, his Y DNA is R1B Z2103. With my trait predictor, the most precise clade that it was able to determine is just R1B. But R1B is a very common lineage for Western Europeans nowadays. The overwhelming majority of Western Europeans carry this patrilineal lineage R1B. When it comes to his results for GED match, I'm going to show you his results with Eurogene's K36. So this is what he scores with Eurogene's K36. Very interesting results. He's very southern. What separates this catacomb culture from, say, Yamnayans? Okay, so what separates this catacomb culture from, say, Yamnans is that Yamnans are actually a lot more northern. They have more of this eastern hunter-gatherer admixture. In the case of him, this catacomb culture individual, he's more southern. He's got more of the Caucasian hunter-gatherer admixture. So he's scoring 27.8% North Caucasus, 21.3% South Central Asian. But he also has quite a lot of Eastern hunter-gatherer admixture as well, and because of that, he's scoring 14% North Atlantic and 10% Fennoscandian, and 6% Eastern European and 5% North Sea. So he's got quite a lot of European admixture as well. He's not entirely a CHG person. He's not, so he's still on that cline between the CHG and the EHG subgroups. He's still on that cline between Eastern and Caucasian hunter gatherers. He's just a little bit more southern than the Yamnans. Let's put it this way. Let's see what he scores with my own ethnicity calculator, the one that I developed. So, on the basis of 514 SNPs, he is closest to Spiginus to corded ware. Definitely very interesting. So yes, he is ancestral to corded ware. Sort of. I'm not sure because the haplogroups don't really match up. Not sure actually. I don't think he is. Yeah, I don't think he is. But he is closest to Spiginus to Corridor with my ethnicity calculator. Followed by that are Russians, modern Russians. Followed by that is Turkic individual from the Caspian Steppe, DA142. By the way, DA142 actually comes from a region that's quite close to this place. I think he comes from Rostov, Rostovskaya Oblast, like somewhere here in this region where I'm showing. Um, Followed by that is Slavic mercenary from Chimera, then Livonian individual from Estonia, then Funnelbeaker, then Finnish Bellbeaker, Kievan Rus, then Turkish. Turkish comes at last place. And the closest two-way models is Russians plus Livonians, Spiginas 2 plus Russians, Turkic plus Russians, and very interesting models. But it looks like with my ethnicity calculator, he's more of a northern. He's got more of a northern result. He's scoring like a Northeast European. In reality, he's a little bit more southern than what my ethnicity calculator is suggesting for him. So, but it's okay. It's not a terrible result. It's okay. Let's see what he scores for the Nashakot calculator results. What kind of appearance he has. Um, what he looks like. So it looks like he's got brown color eyes, definitely very dark eye color. Actually, he doesn't have darkest brown eyes. He's got only 10% likelihood of darkest brown eyes. So he's got definitely brown eyes, but not dark brown eyes. No likelihood of blue or blue with amber center or green. So pretty much essentially just brown eyes. Black hair color. Very precise prediction here. No likelihood of any hair color other than black. Light brown skin, once again, very precise prediction here. And looks like he's got curly, wavy, or straight hair. Probably not kinky hair. And he does not have blue eye haplotype 3, no BH2, no BH1. He does have heterozygous genotype in this variation of BH2, but when it comes to the other variation that's also predictive of BH2, he doesn't have any light color variants there. Okay, and he also does not have any light color variants in any of the variations for SLC 45A2, but he does have two light color variants in this variation for SLC 24A5 that has to do with light pigmentation of skin, eyes, and hair. Very, very interesting. And for MC1R, he does not have any light color variants for MC1R, so he is not predisposed to being ginger. Definitely very, very, very interesting. Let's see the phenotype oracle. What phenotypes that he does he resemble the most? So it looks like for the phenotypes that he resembles the most, the phenotypes he resembles the most are this, followed by this, followed by this. Okay, very interesting. So this is the closest phenotype, followed by this, followed by this. Let's compare the distances. Yeah, the distances are roughly the same, and the closest mixture is 50% nat plus 50% nat. The second closest mixture is 50% nat plus 50% nat. The third closest mixture is 50% nat plus 50% nat. Very interesting. So he's quite West Asian in his appearance. All right, let's close that panel. Should I show you the biomarkers or should I just? Yeah, let's show you that. I'm thinking I should just like brush it over. So for the biomarkers, looks like he's got below average levels of vitamin D. It looks like he's got below average levels of LDL cholesterol, below average levels of HDL cholesterol, above average levels of glucose, above average levels of hemoglobin, below average levels of blood pressure, below average levels of iron in blood. Really good to see. Above average levels of sex hormone binding globulin, below average levels of red blood cell count in blood. Okay, nothing interesting. Nothing so far that interests me so much. Let's see for the polygenic risk scores. Very high score for rheumatoid arthritis. Below average risk score for Tourette's. Below average risk score for epilepsy. Average risk score for asthma. Slightly above average score for leukemia. Average score for vitiligo. Average score for myopia. Slightly above average score for primary biliary cirrhosis. Below average score for stroke. Slightly above average score for male pattern hair loss, which is not surprising because Europeans tend to score higher for that. Slightly above average score for atrial fibrillation, below average score for deep vein thrombosis, high score for bipolar type 1, high score for schizophrenia, which is very interesting. High score for type 2 diabetes, also high score for type 1 diabetes, which is surprising. Definitely very, very interesting. Um, and these two scores are actually not related. Like, if you're scoring high for type 2 diabetes, that doesn't mean you're going to score high for the other one as well. Like, they are not related at all. Um, High score for Alzheimer's, um, below average score for multiple sclerosis. Looks like 2 risk variants for breast cancer out of 10, kind of typical. 10 risk variants for testicular cancer out of 18. Let's see for the keto G variants. Yes, 2 risk variants for keto G in both of these variations, and it looks like they're both homozygous for the bad variants. That's kind of bad. So okay, kind of cooked when it comes to keto G. Cooked for testicular cancer. Celiac disease section, 2 risk variants for celiac disease. All right, not so bad. 0 risk variants for GSS. 4 risk variants for Crohn's. Okay. None of them are in their important variations. 4 risk variants for Raffenstein's. No risk variants for Raffenstein's out of 4. Really good to see. 1 risk variants for Parkinson's out of 18. Let's see, what is that? Let's look it up. Let's look this up. Um, no, this is pretty common. Yeah, okay. This is pretty common. Not that big of a deal. And 2 risk variants for Gilbert syndrome. Oh, I recognize these. This is not that big of a deal. And 0 risk variants for basal cell carcinoma. Okay, pretty good. So the only thing we really have to watch out for, I think, is the type 1 diabetes risk score, which I think we're going to have problem with the HLA gene panel. And what else? What else do we have to watch out for? Maybe asthma and rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah. So let's look at the monogenic stuff, monogenic traits. It looks like he's got AA and Komatsuval Met variation, which means um warrior genotype in Comt, warrior genotype in MAOA. So overall, he's definitely a warrior. Also, less dopamine D2 receptor sites in the brain. So warrior and less D2 dopamine receptor sites. Also, he's got short form 5-HTCL-PR. Okay, so higher odds of depression. Also higher odds of autism. Actually, no, intermediate odds of autism. Also looks like average odds of empathy. Looks like no dwarfism as well. No dwarfism. All right. He's got this uncommon genotype, which leads to 7 times increased risk of DSPS, which is sleep disorder. For hemochromatosis, he's not a carrier for the C282Y hemochromatosis mutation. Okay, for cardiovascular disease, we look at the right. Looks like he's got lower odds of cardiovascular issues. Really good to see. For myopia panel, we remember he was scoring low for the myopia risk variance. For facial morphology gene panel, looks like he's got two European EDAR alleles. Yet he's got European genotype in EDAR. Really good to see. European facial morphology. Intermediate odds of protruding the nasal bridge and smaller nose size and likely higher nasolabial angle, nose pointing up, slightly thinner eyebrows. Very interesting. He's got some risk alleles in HLA for vitiligo. Okay. Um, no micropenis for the miscellaneous section. No micropenis, smaller cranium and lower IQ, better performing muscles like the splinter rather than endurance athlete. Um, not an East Asian flusher, lower odds of alcoholism, low normal risk of esophageal cancer. His risk of heart failure due to beta blocker medications is well below the average, which is really good. Um, it looks like he's got a much greater increased risk of Parkinson's symptoms when treated with antipsychotics. Okay. Um, when it comes to risk score for alcoholism, it's pretty much average, which is definitely very interesting. Kind of unusual to see. I wasn't sure if that's possible to score. Um, for rare diseases and traits panel, looks like he's got a 4.6 times increased risk of ankylosing spondylitis and 5.2 times increased risk of rheumatoid arthritis. So he does have some risk scores, risk variance for rheumatoid arthritis, and we remember he was scoring very high for that for the polygenic risk score panel. Um, okay. Okay, so for the HIV and AIDS panel, he does not carry protective evidence from HIV, which is pretty typical. For HLA gene panel, it looks like overall he's got lower odds of autoimmune disease, which is really good once again. For muscular dystrophy myopathies, looks like he does not have any risk variance for any muscular dystrophy myopathies, which is really good once again. So it looks like he's not predisposed to Duchenne muscular dystrophy or adrenoleukodystrophy, which is really good. For color blindness, looks like he does not have any risk variants for color blindness. For FTO gene panel, looks like he does not carry any fat gene variants, which is once again really good. And for syncope, looks like based on 4 SNPs, his syncope risk is essentially a little bit above average, 1.13 times above average. For bio traits panel, he actually has some East Asian traits, such as this genotype right here, dry ear wax, no body odor, likely East Asian ancestry. Very East Asian trait. He's got 2 copies of the farmer's CLTCL1 gene variant, has a selective advantage in processing carbohydrate-rich diets, presumably including those with lots of sugar. Okay. Um, there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. I don't really want to talk about all this stuff. And for a blood group panel, looks like he most likely has blood type O. Blood type A is second most probable, but most likely he's got blood type O. Type B and type AB is pretty much out of the picture. He definitely does not have blood type B or AB. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss for this individual. Thanks for watching until the very end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and um, leave a like, and also consider buying my tool. The link to download my software, to get my software, will be in the description of the video, as well as the link to download this file, the DNA file for this sample. It will be in the description of the video as well. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.